Well, hello there, everyone. You're talking about right here for low income, smartphones right here, and most of these, phones will be, paid for, according to anybody who's receiving, any source of extra, assistance, if it's going to be food stamps, or if it's Section 8, or any source of a government, source if it's going to be any source of assistance, by government phones right here, and I talk about for low income individuals, and you see right here of talking about with smartphones, and with like a smartphone note that in case of anybody that may want to word it, most of these smartphones that you see advertised that would be free though, and I'm like, yeah, in case of anybody that may say that I have a free phone, and I use this as a backup phone. I don't use this as like you can talk to anybody, call anybody that you like, just to talk to them, or like any source of dating line. And I know, in case of anybody that may say that that if you're going to have a free phone, get a free phone. And I know from back in the earlier years, I think since back in 1996, when I was checking into the cell phones, because it's like, that whenever the first, if I can remember right, they were not like the cell phones that we have nowadays. That the cell phones that I seen advertised those couple years ago, quite a few of them were, that they were not even the touch screens. They were the flip kind phones where you have the dial pad. Not too much of the analog, but the phones from back in 1996 that I can remember that quite a few of them. If you're going to be shopping around for a cell phone, and then you would expect to pay at least maybe $200 to maybe $76 or so dollars. You expect to maybe pay at least $75 or $76 for a cell phone and be able to use it anywhere you go, and you will be able to call, make phone calls like you like to make, or if it's urgent, for any source of urgent situation. So so it seems like that with a lot of these free phones here that we've seen those phones advertised and sketched right here as an example right here, this free phone, and along with this person, I'm like, yeah. So in case of anybody that may say that as soon as you get a phone and then you figure it out the phone, and they ask you as to where if you want to go ahead and test the phone call, I'm like, yeah, if you have maybe an 8 or maybe 10-year-old at home, they'll be glad to answer the phone and want to know about, okay, who's calling, and so that if you're gonna, and I know, in case of anybody that may want to, where if you do have a 10-year-old, daughter or son at home, and they're gonna maybe want to where that, may I ask who's calling? This is your. This is your father, or something like, yeah. So in case of anybody that may say that, if you're going to be getting a phone call whenever your parents are not home, and you get a phone call, and maybe if it's coming from a number that you don't recognize, a phone number that you don't recognize, and it's possible that you're going to be like, oh, okay, should I answer or not? So So in case of anybody that may want to where that. Nowadays, since they got this Messenger app, and since they got this Google Hangouts app so you can download to your phones, you don't even have to memorize the number, but still, though, that sometimes if you're going to be getting a free phone, and let's just say if you're maybe out at the mall, and then you're able to, while you're in there, that you see a place where you can get an affordable cell phone, and you call a number, but with some of these phones here that, especially the, what we call these smartphones, and I know that they say that, some of them that are free, but, still, though, in case of anybody that may say that, really, that this all really depends, though, in case of anybody that may say that, you checked it out, that you looked it up, it's not really what you call this free like they mentioned, but still, though, with my phone, I use this, I use my phone as a backup phone, so in case of anybody that may say that, free buy that, well, it's not really an expensive quality type phone. No, I'm like, it's not like, with these with my phone, I'm like, yeah, that in case of anybody that may say that, if you're going to have a phone and then you're able to make phone calls with it, but let's just say that with this smartphone, it's that it's possible that with this phone, so in some of them that only about maybe 85 to maybe $120 value compared to those $400 or $500 value iPhones, Apple iPhones or something like a lot of the Apple products, but still. That with the phone, though, that you would only have like maybe 1,000 minutes or so per month or something. So yeah, that with the way that the phone works is toward that you will be and I know in case of anybody that may say that it seems like really the whole fact of the matter, if you say the truth of the matter is that with a lot of these advertisements, a lot of times it seems like that all they really want is 15 minutes of your time, and that's it. They give you the phone and then they look up your information, but I can tell you anybody that really, what's the worst thing that can happen really about is to where if we're talking about with anything that is related to that if you really need to have a phone to use in case if there's an urgent situation that's going on, and it could also be about as to where that if you really need a phone and then it's possible that with any source of situation come up to where well, in case of anybody that may say that okay, well if you've already got a cell phone, if you've already got a phone and you're like I say that the phone that you have works just fine, and then somebody tells you that well, check this we got some phones here, you qualify for a free phone, so in case of anybody that may say that there's been a couple of times to where that with these phones here, and I know tell anybody too that you just kind of draw an example right here, because I know that with these phones right here that showing everybody that my pen sketch, because I know so there are some free some smartphones that you get them, and then sometimes they'll like say you go into places like Walmart or anywhere, and then you're trying to it takes you about maybe 10 or 15 minutes to decide what phone that you want to use, or what that you want to get, because there's different kinds, of course. There's different kinds, but I usually go by, for what I mainly want, need the phone to do. So the standards are usually going to be to where that you have a built-in camera and 3G networking or 4G networking, and then allow you to, you can do unlimited talk, text, and data. So there's other providers that allow you to do a number of those things, with these phones here. And I was also thinking my Polygon phones also, that was another project I was working on, during a class assignment, actually, to where that it's a company that cleans phones, and in case of anybody that may ask me that cleans phones, I'm like, phones, say phones do get dirty. I'm like, especially that if we're going to be talking about a lot of unused files, and with these files that are going to be on your phone, but a lot of them, I don't know if you want to call them cookies, but they're your files that are downloaded to your phone. If you're going to be opening up any app, any apps, to your phone and downloading any apps, and there'll be files that some of them are just temporary files. In case of anybody that may ask, is that with these temporary files that you open up the application, and some of those after you download the application, and then those files are still just kind of they're still stored on your phone, but for any purpose at all, to why those files don't need to be using up any more memory than it needs to. But anyway, but talk about for low-income individuals. So it's basically that with this smartphone here, talking to everybody about for anybody who's making who's earning less than 1,000. I'm like, if you are making less than $950 a month or something like that, and then I know in case of anybody that may say that for anybody who's earning at less than $1,300 a month, So let's just say that, yeah, in case if anybody that may ask, is that, compared to getting a Magic Jack line, because I know that, in case if anybody that may ask me that, yeah, well, you need a computer to do all that. Yeah, you need a computer to do that. You don't, with the smartphone here, that, you have that device to where you can make the phone call there. But still, that with the Magic Jack line, that you need a computer to do all that and plus be connected to the internet. But still, though, that in case if anybody that may say that, yeah, that let's just say that, yeah, in case of, and I know back when I was looking up the cell phones too, that whenever I first heard that about some phones that are free, and I kept thinking that you had to be 18 or older, just to be able to get them. So in case of anybody that, any kids that may say that think this, to where that you hear that, to where that they hear somebody up there at school that told them something like, you have to be 18 or older just to be able to get your own phone. Because I know, yeah, kids who are maybe only 11 years old that maybe want to have their own cell phone, and maybe if they want to get maybe for backup reasons or something like that, it's like, what is mommy and daddy going to think about that? So in case of, yeah, about how many kids are really going to be offered a free lunchbox or maybe a book bag or something like, backpack or anything like that. So let's just say, most, and I know quite a few schools, they have to where that their kids cannot be, on their cell phones, while they're in school, even in the cafeteria, in case of anybody that may say that, in the cafeteria or on the front lounge or somewhere like that you can't be on your phones. But I can remember that I was paying for it. It was a prepaid phone, but still I can remember getting my own cell phone and bringing it to school with me. And it was like, yeah, quite a few teachers were a lot of times that they were asking about that, to where that is it off? Well, you're supposed to have it off while you're in school, but. So yeah, I would even keep it in my binder. Also, I would even keep that phone in my binder, and it was like. Yeah, you would keep it in your binder, and during that time, that I can remember that. I don't know how many of us can remember about whenever the bus drivers, whenever they went on strike. Whenever the bus drivers went on strike, and during that time that the bus services were not going to be there to pick up the kids whenever they get out of school, and so it's like once or twice. That a cell phone that came in handy. So about how old were we whenever we first had our cell phones? And I can tell anybody too that I was around 16. I'm like, it was not what you call one of those contract source of phones, to where that you had to pay about $40-50 a month, and then plus you were only allowed maybe about 700 minutes or something like that a month, and anything like that. But still, though, that with the phone, though, that having a phone handy whenever I was in school, because I know during the time I had that prepaid phone of mine, that I can remember calling the school, even calling the taxi cabs, and it was like, yeah, that I did not think, yeah, I honestly did not think that even was even my responsibility. And I can tell anybody here that I did not really think that was really my responsibility to call, call for a ride. I'm like, yeah. So in case of anybody that may say that, during a time that maybe whenever you were getting out of school, or maybe if you were getting off work or somewhere like that, I'm like, whenever you're young, whenever you're only maybe 14, 15 years old, and you're likely thinking too that, that the phone calls, the phone calls that you do make on that cell phone, and yeah, that you're not getting billed for those calls, but if anything, it's using up your minutes. And we are talking about, at 600 minutes, it goes pretty fast, especially if you're going to be putting on hold. I'm like, if you're going to be put on hold, then you're talking about a lot of minutes there. So it seems like, in case of anybody that say that, if you're going to be on your cell phone, maybe taking care of the food stamp interview, or taking care of something important, maybe related to your taxes. And how many of us will probably say that, if you're going to have a free, cell phone, and with this free cell phone that you're on the phone maybe with the tax office, and they're trying to get some things with your tax return straightened out, and then they're going to maybe have you put you on hold. And so it's like, yeah, that a number of things that will be called to where that I don't think that I should be responsible for for the charges that are coming to this phone. And but still, that about how many of us really are going to argue about that, about for what we call, okay, well, if it's free, if there's no cost, but still, if you're trying to make sure that you have health insurance too. And so in case of anybody that may say that with the phone calls, though, that whenever you want to, whenever if there's going to be if you're going to be getting a letter in the mail stating to where that you are eligible for a free smartphone, but you need to start watching out on the minutes that you're using on the phone. This phone is only used for certain reasons only, or something like that. So let's just say that in case of anybody that may say that back whenever that, if I can recall right, that if there's a right or wrong way of how to use for like a vacuum cleaner, that vacuum cleaner that cleans carpets, doesn't it? But now that they got these vacuum cleaners to where that you can have like the attachments to where it cleans, cleans the windows and the pipes, or but still that with these vacuum cleaners, vacuum cleaners are made for cleaning. But how many of us that really use it to defrost the windows or something? I'm like, especially during the wintertime. How many of us had tried that to where that we're going to go ahead and try to de-ice the window if it's built up with ice? And a lot of times vacuum cleaners are real warm whenever they're on. So in case if anybody say that if you try that, but I would not recommend that, because that could lead to electrical shock. But still, that just for safety reasons, though, too, just for safety reasons. But let's just say that with these phones, so that so far we're not using them while we're swimming. I'm like, in case of anybody that may say that people are going to be on their phone quite a bit, to where that if they're going to be at the pools, and then they're going to go ahead and say that, oh, they forgot that the phone was in their pocket, and they decide to their swimming suit that has pockets on the side or something like that, and then they're going to say that, oh, okay, that they decide to go get into the pool because it's hot outside, and if they got a lot going on or something. But still, though, that with the phone, though, if you're going to forget that you got the phone in your pocket, and let's just say that if you accidentally run it through the washing cycle, the wash machine, or maybe if you go swimming, and quite a few of those phones aren't even waterproof. But still, though, that with a lot of these phones, though, that for what we call for advertising, though, and I show right here is like a little graphic design work right here of this flower right here. This was right here was supposed to be kind of like an example here of a screensaver. But still, though, that whenever we hear about that, about free phones, though, that I guess you say that you go by about the qualifications and eligibility, and so far as if you're enrolled, and then so far for account. So out of these four things, and so in case if anybody say if you're going to be a personnel on food stamps, or if it's going to be maybe paid for by the government, and these are like government phones to where it's paid for, and but if anything, that you won't be getting a monthly bill for this, that you will be paying it at a totally different process. And that process could be used to on your tax forms, and also about about maybe about every 5 months or something like that. But still, with these smartphones here, that quite a few of everybody else would maybe say that that they don't really know too much about it, or they don't even bother with it, or that maybe if they don't even think that they're even qualified. But I tell you, and I know that we may have heard that too, to where it's like $20. I think $20 just to be able to for like the starter's kit or something like that. So you have to pay. I guess like that. There's like a membership fee. If there's a membership fee of $20. So well, what are you going to tell maybe the senior citizens of that? Like the senior citizens that If elderly people, oh my God, anybody who's elderly that knowing about that with their phones, though, needing to have a phone, you have a, in order to be qualified for this free smartphone, that you would have to make a $20 deposit along with checking your eligibility, but for low-income individuals. But still, though, that we are talking about for medical reasons, that with a phone, though, with this free phone, though, that in case of anybody that may say that. But still, I can tell you by here, mine is free, but still, though, that in case of anybody, if we've done the math, though, that say you're paying for this phone, it's somehow, but it's working differently, compared to your monthly bills. So let's just say about maybe every 3 weeks to every month or so, if you're used to getting a phone bill from that company. But with one of these phones right here, they won't even be mailing you a bill. They'll just be keeping updated about your qualifications. So how many of us will maybe say that you're gonna get a phone, but then with this phone right here, what's required for that phone, that you just got to keep you just got to keep your information updated. Keep posted about sources of income as well as your eligibility, and then what plan that you're going to be on. What plan. So in case of, and I know from back in 1996 that I know that from since back in 1996 that they mentioned about some phones that are free, but I was thinking about that too, to where free. By what do you mean by that? But still, though, that some of those phones, it might be free for the phone, but then you might have to pay a tax rate, and you may have to pay a membership fee, just to be able to be qualified, and then maybe fill out an application in case of anybody that may say that the application. If your information is not, in the systems, and then it's possible that they're going to ask you to please, fill out this, application. So please fill out the application. You got right there, for application, but for apply, just to apply. I'll go and write down here, but to apply. To apply for your free, smartphone, and in order to be able to do that, any information that's going to be on file, and so you're likely thinking too that, maybe that whenever you see an ad somewhere, then a lot of times it seems like that, goes by saying is to where that, even if it is for a free ice cream cone, in case if anybody has heard of that story, to where that that what kids are maybe going to do if they see something about a free ice cream. For a free ice cream, that this is what you need to do. Why is it that it reminds me just a little bit of that? In case of anybody that may say that in order to be able to get your free ice cream, that you got to call this number between these hours or something like that. For a free ice cream cone. For a free ice cream cone, that you'll be able to get a free ice cream cone only if you follow these 3 steps or something like that. But in case of anybody that may say that, well, no, Mike, even if you do get the phone for free, then it's possible. It's like say that you're only going to be getting about maybe 1,000 minutes a month or so, and plus it's not a row. That phone, Mike, it only, that phone only comes with about maybe 5, gigs or something like that of memory space or something like that, and only maybe 3G networking. But still, though, that I use my phone most of the time to listen to the radio and to send text. In case of anybody that may say that, if you want to send text, if sending text is pretty convenient for you, and as well as for being able to talk to loved ones and individuals, maybe for medical reasons. So that's another reason to why they say that that's free right there. But if anything, that we may have all heard that before, to where you heard it's free and then you heard it's not, but you heard it's even a scam, whichever. But still though that really, it get to the main point right here about talking about for low-income individuals. Those, who are making, less than, they're making less than $1,200 a month, and then, who are making, at least on average up to $43,000 a year or less, that would be qualified for one of these phones. And, yeah, and even if you are qualified for the phone, though, even if you are qualified for the phone, and then the next thing it could be is to where that maybe not everybody knows how it works. So in case if there's kids, the kids going to maybe pick up the phone and want to push a button and try to make a Skype call or something like that, or maybe get on Facebook or some sort and look at pictures. Most children are going to pick up the remote control and turn on the TV and maybe be watching something on TV or something like that. Maybe just checking out the weather. There's going to be kids who are going to be doing that. Kids are going to be curious and want to pick up the remote control and just want to watch TV, and then they trying to get the TV on. And so, like I say, that the kids are going to more likely be spending more time trying to figure out a cell phone too. If they're curious about something, if they see a little cartoon character. So in case if anybody say, yeah, cartoon character, yeah, like a puppy dog. Yeah, if they see like a puppy dog right there, I'm like, yeah, if they see example right there of like a little puppy dog, and I say that, yeah, puppy dog. So it's like, say, yeah, then they might even miss it. I say that thinking it is to where it's candy, but then they pick up the phone and find out that that's a phone right there. But still, that we might say that back whenever we're young, we learn our lessons basically about what's right and what's wrong to do. But still, though, that if we're talking about with phones, though, that at the time, say compared to the children and compared to the adults, if you see like a little puppy dog, on the screen right there, and you're gonna maybe want to check out that puppy dog, and you say that that's maybe going to be like the only time that you're really going to check out that phone right there, is there's a little puppy dog that's on there, and like I say that, like to check us out, like you're free today, or something like that. So in case of anybody that say that, yeah, if it's Meow Mix or something like that, yeah, any source of advertising, I'm like, yeah, commercial ads that we see even on our phones, if we're going to be on our emails, and commercial ads that we're going to be seeing, that if there's something that little kids are going to maybe be checking out also. But talking about the right here, though, if this phone right here was used for anything such as to where that whenever you get a free phone, we know back whenever we were young, whenever we got a free phone, if we want to test it out just to see if it worked, then you're going to go ahead and call home and see how things are going. You're going to maybe call work, or maybe call your friend up. Call up your friend and say that, how's the weather doing over there? Like, well, it's nice and sunny. Why? Well, where are you calling me from? So yeah, in case of anybody that, I'm sure most of us have been there to where that, whenever you get a phone, and if it's going to be free, or maybe that if you were able to work it out where you can get your own, a backup phone or some kind. I'm like, if you get a secondhand phone, or maybe if you get like what's called a phone that you use for certain purposes, then you're going to be calling up a friend, and you're going to say that, hey, guess where I'm calling you from? Are you out of state, or where are you? No, I'm here at home, but I'm calling you on from my cell phone here. So I know that back whenever we were young, whenever we would get a cell phone, that yeah, in case of anybody that may say that, what's so exciting compared to that, and compared to getting a wallet? I'm like, you're getting a free personal wallet, and I can say that, well, I've already got one of them, that's nothing exciting, but cell phones, though. Cell phones have always been exciting, everybody, and whenever they're exciting, then that more likely means is to where, despite about if it's a calculator of some sort, that there's going to be kids that are going to say that if they want to make a free phone call, and if anybody say, yeah, you see here that, you can make a free phone, you can make a phone call even from a limousine, or maybe, on the airplane. It's like that, yeah, you get a free phone call. Like you get a phone call and you say that you want to test out that phone, and maybe if you're going to be calling somebody maybe out of state or somewhere, or maybe around town. I say, yeah, well, where are you calling me from? But that's like the first thing they're going to ask. But still, but knowing about for what we call for any unknown calls also, and maybe unrecognized, but they have it to where if you're going to get in a free phone, and knowing about for how to manage that as well. But talk about for low income smartphones here, but paid for smartphones by the government, and in case somebody say that most of the time it's paid for whenever you take care of the taxes, any qualifications, and what you're eligible for, knowing about enrolled and having your account as well. But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone, and talk about for low income smartphones, and have a great day.